Hi, I'm Chumki Bose, a senior psychologist at MindTribe. I would like to discuss with you all homosexuality today. We get a lot of queries from people, clients, questions that are written on our community asking that how do we open up with our parents that we are gay or lesbian about our homosexuality? How do we open up and come out to the world about homosexuality? I have been thinking about this topic for quite some time now, and having studied a few works of how homosexuality works and what is the basic of it, I have come to understand that before we get to the root of homosexuality, we must get to the step one, which is sexual orientation. Sexual orientation, as described by Simon Levy, a neuroscientist, is the sex of our preferred sex partners. More specifically, it is the trait that predisposes us to experience sexual attraction to people of the same sex as ourselves, like homosexual, gay, or lesbian, to persons of the other sex, like heterosexual or straight, or to both sexes, like bisexual. What is the criterion for sexual orientation according to him? Simon Levy says that we usually judge sexual orientation based on a person's sexual attraction to men and to women. That is, on his or her feelings as expressed in answers to direct questions such as, are you sexually attracted to men, to women, or to both men and women? The question doesn't refer to interviewees' feelings of sexual attraction at the very instant of being asked, of course, but to their tendency or predisposition to experience such feelings over some extended period of time, perhaps over their entire adult life. In some studies, such as the pioneering work of Alfred Kinsey in the 1940s and 50s, sexual behavior has been taken into account. That is, the extent to which a person actually has sexual contacts with men or women. The problem with this approach is that sexual behavior is influenced by many factors that have nothing to do with one's basic sexual feelings and that are changeable over time. That is fluid. Is a woman in prison a lesbian simply because she has sex with the woman she is locked up with? Probably not. Is a man straight simply because he follows his church's teaching to be fruitful and multiply? Probably not. The factors that influence the choice of actual sex partners include the availability of partners, the person's moral sense, the desire to conform or have children, curiosity, financial incentives, and so on. It's true that on occasion actions may speak louder than words, as for example, a self-declared heterosexual man is observed seeking some sexual contact with men. Still, by and large, we do best to listen to what people tell us about their sexual feelings. Sexual attraction may not be a single unitary phenomena. There is physical attraction, meaning the desire to engage in actual sexual contact, romantic or emotional attraction, which is a desire for psychological union that need not always be expressed in sexual contact. Romantic attraction shades off into forms of close friendships as well that are not explicitly sexual. Like in 18th century Europe, it was quite common for heterosexual men to write letters to each other so laden with intimate sentiments as to leave a modern reader in no doubt that the two men were passionately in love. If you have read the books of Jean-Paul Sartre, this is what he writes to his dear friend. My dear Heinrich, do tell me once again when the opportunity occurs that you love me, like the young girl I want to hear that repeated, if not trillions and millions of times. And his friend Jacobi replied in kind, I feel that exactly the same for you, my friend. Should love his friend as the woman loves the man, the lover, the loved one. Yet both of these men married women, and there is no particular reason to think that either of them desired to have sexual contacts with men. It's very possible that some such men would have been bisexual and gay in a more liberated environment. Like sometimes we now get news of people coming out at their 40s or 50s and have spent married lives for so long periods of time. But it's also relevant that in those times there were little awareness or discussion of homosexuality. In that atmosphere, heterosexual men and women may have been freer than they are today to feel and express intimacy with persons of the same sex. There was simply no suspicion that such intimacy represented a sexual bond. At any rate, because of the fuzzy edges of romantic attraction, many researchers consider physical attraction to be the most reliable criterion for sexual orientation. As another alternative to feelings or behavior, researchers sometimes use arousal as a criterion for sexual orientation. Sexual arousal means being turned on sexually. It is the temporary state of excitement that a person may experience in the presence of an attractive partner, or while seeing erotic images, or while imagining or fantasizing or in engaging in actual sexual contacts. One way to measure arousal is to monitor genital responses in the laboratory, which the scientists do. An inner psychological state of sexual arousal still precedes and accompanies genital arousal, or may occur without any genital arousal. While some researchers ask their subjects to estimate the degree of sexual arousal while viewing various kinds of potentially arousing images or videos by pushing or pulling a lever, for example, others have attempted to access psychological arousal by the use of functional brain imaging techniques. And I'll discuss about them in the next podcast. Thank you.